It is nice to know that at long last the snow's starting to give. There's a few broken bits and pieces as brought down this guttering, but at least it's going and we can start getting on with business. And bloody hell, there's a lot to get on with this year. Don't know how we're going to get on with it and get it through it, but there you are. It's all part of life, isn't it? So let's get down to it. Gird up your loins, as they say. Not that I've got much loins to gird up these days. One of my favourite jobs at this time of the year is dealing with the maples. Many of them have to be top dressed. If we don't top dress them, they look untidy, and it just gives us a chance to clean up the top of the pot. Add a little bit of fertiliser. We use a slow release. You want something that releases over about 6 months. There's no point in having something that releases over 12 months because the buggers are only in leaf for 6 of them. This here isn't a can of Quality Street. There, slow release fertiliser. This is a commercial one that we just drop on the top, and when it's wet it'll stick to the soil surface. There we are. That's ready for my customers. Assuming I'll get some, that is, of course. Funny old time of the year, we're just starting. These maples will look good in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks perhaps, and they'll go right through the summer and look magnificent again in the autumn. Well, many of them. But you know, there's always something to look at. Any time of the year, you know, there's something to see. You just have to open your bloody eyes. These, for example, are the lovely young shoots of geranium. This is Geranium pretense, Summer Skies. They have a lovely orangey glow to them. There's something wonderful about new shoots that come through with this sort of colour on. It's just another dimension. And it's just the early spring, and they're just poking their way through. And these will have little double pale blue flowers on towards the middle of summer. Again, we have the lovely golden shoots of phlox. Well, this particular phlox anyway. This is a quite modern variety called Jade. White clusters of flower, the slightly green edge to it. Really pretty thing. For these shoots, I only realised last year that they were so lovely when they came through. Anyway, that's another one. That's one of the most dramatic of all are this aconitum. This is aconitum, one of the monk's hoods. This is royal flush. Blue flowers. But these beautiful sort of beetroot flushed young shoots. It's the 3rd of April today, and I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, a lovely big patch of those coming through your garden this time of the year. Absolutely delightful. Of course, it's got to be remembered that the aconites are all poisonous, so it's not a plant you would mess with, but it's still a very, very beautiful plant. One of the monk's hoods. Aconitum royal flush. By way of shrubs, there's always the choiceas. This is choicea sundance. Lovely fingers of gold. It's come through the winter fine. It's against a wall here, so it does quite well. I find they do well in sun or semi-shade. They don't seem too bothered at all. I have a friend who's got a beauty in almost full shade. But yeah, that's one called, I believe it's Sundance. There's a slightly finer fingered one called Goldfinger. Always worth having. Although it's not colour. If we look around here at this magnolia, Leonard Messel, the buds here are really beginning to give us a bit of promise. I think that's going to be a fine display later on. There's something beautiful about just looking at these buds and waiting for them to break open. Even the buds on this Cornus controversa, this is Controversa variegata, the pagoda tree, they're just beginning to swell. They're later than they should be, but we look at those. The colour about this is the maroony sort of red of the young previous year's growth, the shoots. They're nice. It's a bit more colour here and there. It's not always where you would expect it to be. There's even colour on this maple. This is fire glow. And the buds are just starting to swell on here as well. I think part of gardening is you get out what you're prepared to see. People can walk through a garden and there's masses of things all around them and they see bugger all. Because there's no big whiz-bangs, no big fireworks. And sometimes by looking for the whiz-bangs and the fireworks, we miss the little things. The little things right in front of our eyes. For example, one of the usual colour suspects are the begonias. Now, I've always been a bit sniffy about begonias. I've always thought, bloody rubbish. But I'm beginning, as I get older, I'm beginning to realise they have a place. This is one called Eden's Magic Giant. These are potted plants ready for sale. Or for just generally planting out. But they have a lot to offer them. Just that lovely purple leaf colour. They haven't even started to flower yet. So we'll have another. Even on a young stunted plant, you can find some interest, some colour. This is a rather stunted, it's just not thriving. It's an Acer called October Glory, Acer rubrum. But if you look at these lovely shoots, they are red. Because it's stunted, it's trying to reproduce itself, I think, and these are flower buds starting to develop here. Plants do that a lot. Meadow plants flower beautifully because they want to reproduce themselves, because generally they're in impoverished soil. Take them out of the meadow and they grow into bloody great things, all leaf. This is a tilia, a lime. This is one called winter orange. This is a stock plant which I keep for getting the buds off. But you can see the lovely winter orange buds. Although it's spring now and the colour is a bit subdued, it's still something different. And something you really don't want to miss. The young growths of this Hebe, an old variety called Purple Queen, they still offer some just sort of late colour. They'll pick up and perk up soon. I'll probably just trim it over, and with that it'll just encourage more shoots for the summer. But it is still colour. There is still stuff that you can find, stuff to look at. And of course, it's always worth remembering the Hellebores. They just seem to go on and on and on. And they offer so much by way of beauty. These are some lovely seedlings. The yellows, of which I'm quite fond. I never tire of looking at them. There's just something about a hellebore flower that seems to offer so much. Even the blousy blacks, these doubles, they're just about coming to the end, and I'm never sure that these darks actually count as colour. But really, there is always something for the gardener to find in any garden. All he has to do is open his eyes. So there you are. No matter what time of the year, where you're looking at, or what you're doing, there's always something to do and always something to see. I reckon I've made the point there. I bloody hope so, because I don't want to do it again. Right, dogs, get on.